he's definitely like the pushes the girl against the wall kind of, male lead type. And to me, it's just really funny at this point. I don't know if we're supposed to be taking it seriously. I don't take it seriously. Like, his character feels like a character. So we are finally in December, and I was actually just about to start making my 2024 wrap-up drama video, like the best and the worst. I'm pretty set on the worst. I really don't think it can get worse than what I've already selected. But for the best, November actually had a lot of dramas that kind of brought me out of my little drama drought. I felt like I wasn't watching really anything on air that was really interesting for a while. I mean, there was Dear Haiti, but that disappointed me. But yeah, November, we're off to a very strong end of the year. They're just like suddenly busting out a bunch of dramas to fight for best drama of the year. I think the best drama of the year that I've already selected is going to stay that way, but we do have a very strong contender with the very first one that aired in November, and it's clear what I'm going to be talking about. You know it, I know it, we all know it. So today, just going to be talking about the 3 November dramas that aired, starting with When the Phone Rings. It is the most popular airing drama right now. Like, literally nothing really holds a candle to it. But in case you don't know, it is an MBC drama that airs on Fridays and Saturdays. Its first episode was broadcast on November 22nd, and it currently has 4 episodes out at the time that I'm filming this. It's planned to have 12 episodes with each hour-long episodes, and it's adapted from the web novel 지금 고신 전화는, The Number You Have Dialed, and it's written by Kon Omol-nyo. And the screenplay is written by Kim Ji-woon, who's also worked on Melancholia, and Dr. John, and Hi, Jekyll Me. So the plot follows Baek Sa-eun, who comes from a prestigious political family and becomes the youngest presidential spokesman in Korea. His background also includes time spent as a war correspondent, hostage negotiator, and main announcer. He married Hong Hee-ju 3 years ago. She is the second daughter of a newspaper prompter. She has mutism due to an accident she had when she was little. She works as a sign language interpreter in court and on television. Sa-eun and Hee-ju got married largely due to convenience. For the past 3 years of their marriage, they've lived under the same roof as strangers. One day, Hee-ju is kidnapped by an unidentified person. This changes their marriage life. So this drama has a lot of potential to be the top drama of the year, and it has a lot of elements that are what I believe made Lovely Runner successful. So if you haven't seen either one of these dramas, I would recommend skipping this part because I'm going to spoil a bit just to give some comparisons. So the first aspect is the fact that it has a plot twist that changes the course of the entire show. In Lovely Runner, it was the truth that Sunjae actually had a secret crush on Im Sol the entire time, which kind of changed the entire narrative of the story. In this one, when the phone rings, it's the fact that Hee-ju is actually the kidnapper. Not the kidnapper, but at some point she starts threatening him, and she's the one calling him with the threatening calls.
원하는 말 말하라고 했습니다. 그럼 잘 들어. 지금부터 내 요구 사항을 말할 테니까. 홍희주 버리고 원래 네 앞으로 데려와. 어차피 네 인생에 홍희주는 필요 없잖아. 안 그래? And yeah, like she can speak, and like a little bit, that's the plot twist, because like that kind of changes the entire plot line with that she's like mute or whatever. And then in terms of dynamics, we have a simp male lead and a sweetheart girl. Of course, in this one, he is a bad boy. Like Sunjae was like the best boy that you could ever find. That, yeah, too good to be true. Baek Sa-eun is very clearly the bad boy tsundere kind of character. But regardless, I think both of them are both knights in shining armors, while Sunjae tries to protect Im Sol from like that kidnapper creepy dude, and in this one Baek Sa-eun is protecting her from the kidnapper threatening guy. So both feature the male leads with the girls that are a little bit of a damsel in distress. And then just like another point is just the fact that they're both in love with each other but act like they aren't. So Sunjae, he's had the secret crush on Im Sol for forever, right? And he's like acting as if he doesn't have a crush on her because he wants to play it cool. And then eventually throughout the timelines, she pretends like she doesn't love him to protect him so that they don't get involved. But obviously they still end up being in love with each other. And same one in this one, it's so clear that Baek Sa-eun has been in love with her for forever. And she also does have a crush on him, hence the practicing his videos practicing all his videos in sign language, because she obviously really likes him too. And yeah, these are definitely the elements that made Lovely Runner so successful. It's probably also the reasons why the drama is doing so well right now. I would say, based off the synopsis, I do not see it outperforming Lovely Runner in my opinion, because Lovely Runner is just like the most fangirl-esque drama you can get. It's about a fangirl, it's about the love that she has. It's very wholesome, youthful, and I think a lot of us can fangirl over a guy like Sunday, but there's a limit to Pixon. Like, we all love a bad boy, but I think right now the genre has changed to we love an absolute sweetheart. Like, sweetheart boys are just in right now. The bad boy, he was great like in 2010, but not anymore. I do think it is nice to get a little bit of that taste of the 2010 kind of male lead character, but ultimately the times have changed because our sentiments have changed and whatever else, you know. I kind of like goes into the first thing about like my pros. I love that it's so tropey. As someone who has watched K-dramas for a very long time, it's such a throwback to this genre of very bad boy dudes who are cold but secretly love the girl. Like I wouldn't go as far to say Gujunpyo, but like we're definitely in that 2010 feeling, and it's nice. Like, I haven't watched one of these in a while, and it's also refreshing because it's new content that gives that era, which is really great. And honestly, the tropiness of it makes it so funny in my opinion. Like, for me, one thing that I cannot take seriously is all the close-ups. Like, all he does is like constantly approach her. So whenever he approaches her, I'm just like, this is so unserious. This is so novel. It's supposed to be swoony, but in my opinion, I'm just like, this makes no sense, and it feels so not cringy per se, but very, very tropey with the like, he's definitely like the pushes the girl against the wall kind of, you know, male lead type. And to me, it's just really funny at this point. I don't know if we're supposed to be taking it seriously. I don't take it seriously. Like, his character feels like a character. It doesn't feel like a real person, and I really enjoy that. Like, I think I like had some reviews and it felt like I was shitting on it, but I honestly really enjoy it. It's so tropey. It makes me feel like a fangirl over like a character, you know? And yeah, it's just kind of funny considering the synopsis too, that there's this whole kidnapper thing going on, but they're like the silly romance at the same time. And I think that's also part of the reason why I'm not taking this drama very seriously, but I like it. I like it for what it is. It's just a fun, silly little drama. And I'm not going to deny that the tsundere male leads are my favorite type. I eat up Mischievous Kiss in every single variation of it. I would make a dedicated video to that one day, like analyzing every single one of the versions, because I've seen every variation of that story. I'm into that. Like, I think I just have a soft spot for it because when I started watching K-dramas, this was the generic male lead type. And as a child, they were very swoon worthy, you know. Growing up, yeah, not so much, which is also why the trend has changed to like simp soft boys like Sunday. But you know, yeah. And for my second pro, I would just say the chemistry. Like, they just look really good together, Yoo Yeon-suk and Tae Subin. Yeah, I think their characters mesh well. She's just a very sweetheart girl, and yeah, he's just the knight in shining armor. And yeah, the biggest con for me is the predictability. I think the biggest plot twist was the fact that she was a kidnapper. I wasn't expecting that. I had no idea what to expect when watching this. I did not think it was a rom-com, to be honest, but it's very clearly rom-com. But basically, I think it's just so easy to imagine every single plot twist from here on out. Like, the fact that he's been in love with her all along, and he is the one that probably manipulated her into the marriage, and that was his goal the entire time. Like, she was never a replacement. She was the one he wanted. And I mean, this isn't revealed yet, but I'm pretty sure he knows sign language. Like, if he's been in love with her for so long, yeah, of course he's gonna know sign language. And so just like these little, I feel like they would have been very interesting plot twists if I were younger and more innocent, but I think it's very clear it's heading that direction. I can honestly see how this entire drama is going to carry out, which is what makes this a little bit less of a front runner for best drama of the year. And yeah, there just isn't anything else I think they can add in here to make it refreshing anymore. And because you're going to spend majority, it's not going to be majority cute moments like Lovely Runner is. It's going to be majority like angsty, like they're in love with each other, but they aren't together, which is going to be the most frustrating point. And even now, I'm not going to deny 3 and 4 were a lot less interesting than episodes 1 and 2, in my opinion. I think we need to move the plot a little faster along. Hopefully 5 and 6 will be more interesting. At the end of 4, we've got like the plot development. So I'm just hoping in 5 that it actually happens and it's not like a trick, you know, like you think that he found out but he doesn't. Yeah, if you're watching, you know what I mean. But yeah, so I'm a little bit worried that it won't hold up, but so far it's really, really good. It's the best thing airing right now. I wake up every morning first thing watching this, so
It's great, and I hope it stays that way. And yeah, so currently this is the highest ranked one I have, and I have this rated at a 9. Hopefully it can pull some things off, maybe work its way up to a 10, but hopefully it doesn't drop any lower. Okay, so next up is Love Your Enemy, and this is a TVN drama that airs on Saturday and Sunday. Its first episode was broadcast on November 23rd, which is one day after When the Phone Rings comes out, and it currently has 4 episodes out at the time that I'm filming this. This is also planned to have 12 episodes each an hour long, and this screenplay is written by Im who wrote The Tale of Naroku, Love in the Moonlight, and Who Are You, School 2015. So this plot follows, I'm just reading it exactly off of what I found on my drama list, but it is a single log bridge romance that unfolds as Seok Ji-won and Yoon Ji-won, who were born on the same day and with the same name and have been enemies for generations, reunite after 18 years. Seok Ji-won is the executive director of Seokban Construction and the new chairman of Dokmok High School. Seok Ji-won is a naturally cheerful guy who has been able to do anything since he was young, whether it be studying or exercising. Seok Ji-won left his hometown and school due to family circumstances, but after returning home and glory as the chairman of a foundation, he meets his great rival Yoon Ji-won, who used to growl at him just by making eye contact again after 18 years. Yoon Ji-won is a physical education teacher at Dokmok High School's Creative Experience Club. Yoon Ji-won is a girl who earned the nickname Dokmok High School Mad Dog during her school days. She cannot tolerate injustice and must find and correct bad habits and unreasonableness to feel better. As she experiences the ups and downs of life on her way to adulthood, the mad dog inside her that has been quietly sleeping begins to emerge again when she reunites with Seok Ji-won. So for my thoughts, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but they're enemies to lovers that actually dated. This is revealed pretty early on, and I think it's the foundation for the entire drama.
내가 지면 네가 시킨 대로 뭐든 해.
평생 누나라고 불러 그럼.
평생 나보게?
졸업할 때까지.
콜. 그럼 내가 이기면?
뭐 할까? 기적이 일어나서다가 혹시라도 이 누나를 이기면?
너 나랑 사귀자. 내가 이기면.
Yeah, because like you could imagine an enemies to lovers drama, especially when they're rivals, that they'll continue to be rivals. Think like Dr. Slump, like that's the kind of vibe I was expecting to go into. But I'm actually pleasantly surprised to find out that they actually dated and they've never really actually hated each other, despite their families constantly pitting them against each other.
야 뭐하냐 지금?
너야말로 뭐하냐? 점심 먹자마자 회식을 오랬지?
한 개만 하고 가려고 했어. 너 밥 못 끊잖아.
거기야 빨리 와.
진짜.
빨리 와.
너 축구 안 해? 안 해. 이 게임만 끝나고 갈게. 5분. 그만 3분.
But yeah, I think that the basis of the enemies to lover is everything for this drama. I really like the confession scenes. I love how they're constantly caring for each other. They give off more longtime friends versus rivals, and I think that makes sense and it's fitting. They've got the bicker and banter. They almost feel like siblings, but it's very cute. They end up dating. And honestly, this is low-key, we can go into the pros right now, but their high school counterparts are so cute that they could be the entire drama. I'm more invested in the high school counterparts than I am in them, even though they are like the main cast. And we love Ju Ji-hoon. He's very hot, attractive, but I think just his high school counterpart is like holding it down, like with his acting. And I just think there's just so much chemistry between them. And right now we're just not seeing it as adults. And currently, this is going to another con. This drama is frustrating me a little bit because we love a good enemies to lovers, but this is also where the plot is going to drag because it's clear they're both in love with each other, but there's nothing going on. And then this is another spoiler, but it's like the fact that they broke up is a misunderstanding that can be cleared so easily. And it's just so silly that we're still getting like the best friend that's actually manipulative and not helping her out. Like, it's 2024. Like, I get like best friends can be bitches sometimes, but like, I just think we've had enough of this plot line of, yes, someone just goes to your phone and deletes messages and deletes phone call records, Do people really do that in real life? That's very scary and sus, but whatever. I just think we've seen too much of this trope and like it's her best friend and then her best friend's manipulating her relationship. And ultimately, I just don't believe that like something like that can really destroy your relationship, because if you want to like maintain the relationship, you will, and you'll believe what you want to. So ultimately, I think both of them are at fault for their relationship not working out, because they both, like, she never reached out to him basically, and he never really reached out to her. Like, he obviously called her over and over that one day, but like
what about another day? Why don't you try another day, you know? So it's honestly such a silly misunderstanding for the reason they broke up, and I would be pleasantly surprised if he's in love with her this entire time and is going to pursue her. I really just don't want this whole denial of feelings when it's so obvious. But come on now, we can't spend like 8 more hours of them doing the same nonsense. I want more dynamic interaction, banter. I'll eat it up if that's what's gonna be, but I do not have very high expectations of this given the plot and given the way it's being carried out right now. Like, honestly, you can do enemies to lovers over and over and it's a good trope, but if you don't have anything new to it, it's gonna be boring in the end. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is gonna happen with this drama. Right now, we're in our early stages, so everything's great, but after time, this will start to drag. So I'm really hoping they bring something refreshing. This isn't based off another IP like When the Phone Rings is, so I'm worried there isn't enough story to make a story, but we'll have to see. Currently, I think I rated this a 8. Yes, I currently have this at an 8, so pretty solid, but if it continues to go at this rate, it might drop to like a 7, 7.5. But yeah. And lastly, we have The Trunk. This is a Netflix original. It dropped all at once on November 29th. It had 8 one-hour-long episodes, and it's adapted from the novel Trunk, written by Kim Ryo-ryung. And for the screenplay, it's written by Park Eun-young, who also worked on Hwarang. And so for this plot, it follows In-ji, who works for a contract marriage provider in NM. The company provides its terms with the spouse for a fixed-term, 1-year contract marriage. In-ji has finished her 4th contract marriage. She meets Chung-won for her 5th contract marriage. Chung-won works as a music producer. His life is filled with anxiety and loneliness due to a pain from his past. He still badly misses his ex-wife Sol-yeon, who applied for the spouse-providing company NM for him. Jungwon meets In-ji from NM and he begins his 2nd marriage with her. They get to know each other and get used to each other as time passes. One day, a mysterious trunk is recovered from a lake. This leads into a whirlwind of secrets behind the NM company. So for thoughts, for the pros, the acting is on point. You have veteran Gong Yoo, and literally Gong Yoo is great as anything he does. Gong Yoo is also a very attractive fan. But yeah, so are very veteran actors. The chemistry between the two of them was super on point, and I mean, the directing, it's a very dark, beautiful, eerie kind of drama, and yeah, so that was done really well. I think the dialogue is also really great, just like their interactions. It just feels like less is more with the silence between them. It's just so beautiful, and just like the way they interact, it's like few words, but it's just like the wittiness, the banter, the subtle emotions involved. I think that's all really great, and it's conveyed really, really well with the dialogue, so love that.
왜 먹어요?
사실 베지테리언이에요. 토마토 빼달란 말을 못했어요.
농담도 할 줄 아네요. 토마토 싫어요?
토마토 좋아해요?
아니요.
그럼 우리 샐러드에서 토마토는 빼죠.
And then lastly, I think the biggest pro is you've got some really weird characters, like both of them. Like, it's not very normal of a person to get involved in contract marriage as a career, and it had to do with the fact that she was at a certain place in her life that eventually ended her up in the current position she was in, rather than like being convinced into it, you know, because I think that's definitely another track goes down to when you work odd jobs like this. And then for him, yeah, he's had a really tough past, and just the events of his life that brought him to where he is and as broken as he is. Yeah, both of them are very broken people, and I guess that's also part of the reason I like their characters so much, and it's just the way they are coping with everything, and yeah. So this one is done, so I have the cons of like what I thought overall. But yeah, the build-up, personally, I didn't think make any sense. It's obviously a romance drama, and they end up falling in love with each other, but I just felt like they didn't know enough about each other. The emotions felt very, very sudden. I just think as viewers, we just didn't get enough into their characterization or backgrounds that resulted in the events happening. It really felt like a movie to me, where I just felt like things had to happen to continue on, and it wasn't like, I understand the logic behind their characters, but I didn't see it, and it wasn't believable enough because there was no time to build it up. Even though this was 8 hours, and it basically felt like a long movie, I think there were so many missing parts that I would have liked to further develop, or like further convince me that they're like in love or whatever. And just even about their like backgrounds and their feelings, I think I was very confused about how the characters were feeling at each given moment at any time. It was a lot of like, things were happening, and I think it took too much thought from me to figure out why it was, and I would have wanted a little bit more seeing than like, oh, this is probably why it's happening, you know? Like, I think it's easy, logical enough that you can follow the reasoning why things are happening, but it wasn't like obvious that this was why it was happening, if that makes any sense. And then lastly, this show is called The Trunk, and The Trunk has nothing to do with anything. There's like a little bit of this like murder mystery going on. There's someone dead, and then they find a trunk with it. And then it's actually just so irrelevant. Like, whatever is in the trunk or why the trunk even exists, I don't know if it's a metaphor for something, but the metaphor didn't have a purpose, didn't really stand out, and I don't get it. Yeah, ultimately, I felt like this drama was trying to do something really big and revolutionary, and it just didn't execute it well. It felt like it was something that was quality, well done work, but yeah, I'm just left feeling a little bit like, oh, so what? Like, what makes this so revolutionary? And the iconic scenes, I can't really think of many. So it was a good watch one way through. It was kind of like, oh, what's gonna happen? And then once everything happened, I was like, oh, that's it. So that's kind of how I left feeling with this drama. I rated it an 8. It was good, but it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like great, you know? So those are just my thoughts on The Trunk, but you'll have to see it for yourself. Maybe it's just a little bit too intellectual for someone like me to understand, because I'm not that intellectual. Okay, and that was all for this video. Yeah, the November dramas are pretty good right now. I mean, I wouldn't say they're like the best of the best, but I am looking forward to seeing how it will go. I hope they all, well, both of them, there's only 2 that are airing, they will both pleasantly surprise me. I don't know what else is going to come out soon, but you know, we're wrapping up the year soon, and I will be having my best and worst of 2024. I'm thinking about combining it into one video because I wouldn't want to make a dedicated video to just like the worst dramas, because that's kind of sad. But that is all for this one. December is going to be a very, very busy month for me. So yeah, but that's it, and I'll see you in the next one.